Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. We got a fascinating article sent in about this project in Kirinyaga County, Kenya, the Muthegi Dairy Goat Project. And it really highlights some pretty amazing transformations.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? It's it's almost hard to believe the difference when you look at where they started.
Yeah, tell me about that before picture. Like, set the stage for us. What was the situation like before Imfuyo came in?
Most of the farmers, they didn't even own dairy goats. I mean, so right from the start, they're, limited in terms of milk production, right? And then you add on top of that just the lack of resources, the lack of knowledge, the lack of training. It's like,
It's like they wanted to get somewhere, but they didn't have the vehicle or the map or anything to get there, right?
exactly. And that's where Fukio really steps in and makes this, just incredible impact. But it's more than just, giving them resources or money.
Right, because that's what I was going to say. It wasn't just like, here's some goats, good luck.
Mm.
It was so much more than that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So they actually spent 6 months working with the farmers directly in the community,
Yeah.
providing training, hands-on support, really building that capacity from the ground up.
So they actually took the time to understand the community, the needs, the challenges, and then they tailored their support around all that.
Yeah, and I think that's so crucial, right? Because it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's about empowering them with the knowledge and the skills to be successful in the long term.
Right, it's about sustainability, and that's something we talk about all the time, right? It's not just about a quick fix, it's about setting them up for a long-term success. So let's talk about some of those results. I mean, because they're pretty impressive.
Oh, they're remarkable. I mean, just to give you an idea, daily milk production, it went from basically nothing to 33 liters a day.
33 liters. Wow. That's going to make a huge difference for these families.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Before the project, many of them were, struggling to feed their families. And now, suddenly, they have 14 liters of milk every day just for their own consumption. Nutritious, fresh milk.
Right, for their kids, for everyone. I mean, that's got to be huge for their health, for their
Well,
nutrition.
it's transformative. And then on top of that, they're able to sell the surplus milk.
Yeah,
Right. So they actually have an income stream now.
which they didn't have before.
Exactly. So they're producing 33 liters, 14 for the family, and they're selling 19 liters a day.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is thanks to milk chilling freezer that Imfuyo donated to them.
Oh, right. I remember reading about that. So now they can actually store the milk, keep it fresh, and then sell it, right?
Exactly. And that just opens up a whole new world of economic possibilities for them. And it's not just the milk, right? Even their goat herd, it tripled in size. They went from just a small number of goats to a full 110 goats.
Wow. Okay, so that's clearly a sign that things are going well, right? I mean, they're expanding, they're growing. So what do you think is driving that growth?
It's a combination of factors, right? So you've got the training, the improved breeding practices, the introduction of healthier dairy goats, and just better overall animal care.
Mhm.
And I think that speaks volumes about, how much the farmers have embraced this knowledge and these new practices.
Yeah, I mean they're putting what they learned into action, and it's really paying off.
Absolutely. But it wasn't just about the practical side of things. Imvuyo also recognized the importance of financial empowerment,
Mhm.
right? Because without that, you know, you can have all the skills in the world, but if you can't access financial services,
You can really take it to the next level, right? You can't invest, you can't grow.
exactly. So they have the farmers form a group, which then gave them access to loans, to savings accounts. It just opened up so many doors for them.
Yeah. So they're not just, surviving day to day anymore. They're actually able to plan for the future, to think about expanding, to really build something sustainable.
And that's the key, right? It's about giving them the tools to create their own success.
And they clearly appreciate that support. I mean, I love that quote from Simon Wangi in the article. He said, "We didn't know where to start, but Imfuyo showed us the way."
It's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it really captures that feeling of being empowered, of having someone believe in you and guide you.
Right, and not just giving them a handout, but showing them, how to fish, so to speak. And the article does mention, it wasn't all smooth sailing, right? There were some bumps along the road. It mentioned that initially the farmers faced some challenges like low milk yields and some health issues among the goats.
Yeah, I mean, that's natural, right?
Right.
Anytime you're trying something new, there are going to be obstacles.
And what's important is how you respond to those challenges, right?
Exactly. And in this case, Imfuyo was there every step of the way,
Yeah.
providing guidance, support, helping them troubleshoot these problems.
So it's about that ongoing relationship, that partnership that really makes a difference.
Absolutely. Because challenges are inevitable, but it's having that support system that helps you overcome them and ultimately achieve success.
Makes you wonder if this could work in other places, right? Like, could other communities replicate this success?
I think that's the question a lot of people have. And it's definitely possible, but it's not just a matter of like copying and pasting what worked in Muthegi.
Right, because every community is different, right?
Exactly. They each have their own, unique set of challenges and opportunities and resources.
So what are some of the key ingredients that made this model work? Like what can we learn from Infilio?
Well, I think one of the most important things is adaptability.
Mm.
They didn't go in with a rigid plan. They took the time to listen to the farmers, to understand their needs, their aspirations, their challenges, and then they adapted their approach accordingly.
So it's about really understanding the local context, right?
Absolutely. And recognizing that each community is different and there's no one size fits all solution.
Right, it's not a cookie cutter
You know,
approach.
exactly. And it all starts with thorough assessments, right? So before even thinking about solutions, you got to understand, what are the existing assets? What are the main obstacles? What are the aspirations of the community?
So it's about taking a holistic view, right?
Yeah.
Not just looking at the economic factors, but also the social and cultural context.
Exactly. Exactly. And once they had a good understanding of the landscape, then they focused on building capacity. And their training program, it wasn't just about, the technical aspects of dairy farming.
Right, right. It was
Yeah.
more than that.
It was also about, financial literacy, business management, even leadership development.
So it's like they're giving them the tools to not just be good farmers, but also good business people, right?
Exactly. To be
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, to be leaders in their community.
And that's so important, right? It's about that long-term sustainable growth.
Exactly. And that's where the element of ongoing support comes in. Imfuyo didn't just train them for 6 months and then disappear.
Right. They stuck around.
Right, yeah. They continued to provide guidance, mentorship, troubleshooting assistance.
So it's like they provided that safety net, right? So that the farmers felt comfortable experimenting, taking risks, knowing that they had someone to fall back on if they needed help.
Exactly. And that's so crucial for fostering innovation. When you know you have support, you're more likely to try new things, to push the boundaries.
And to ultimately achieve greater success,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. So in a way, Imfuyo provided the framework, the tools, and the safety net, but it was the farmers themselves who really drove their success.
Right. They put in the hard work, the
Yes,
dedication.
exactly. And they brought, their own knowledge of the land, their experience with livestock. And and that's the beauty of this collaborative approach, right? It recognizes that the solutions often lie within the community themselves.
Right. It's not about imposing solutions from the outside.
Exactly. It's about facilitating a process of discovery and empowerment. So, in
Yeah.
terms of replicating this model, it's important to understand that there's no magic formula.
No one size fits all. Yeah.
Exactly. But the principles are universal, right? It's about adaptability, it's about community ownership, it's about sustained support.
And it's about listening to the needs of each community, right?
Right.
Recognizing their unique strengths.
Exactly. And working together to create a path towards prosperity.
It's a pretty powerful model, but I'm sure there are still challenges, right, when it comes to scaling this kind of impact. What are some of the hurdles that organizations like Imfuyo face? It's a lot easier said than done, right? Scaling up. I mean, you think about all the resources that go into something like this.
Yeah. And funding is a huge challenge. A lot of these projects rely on grants and donations, which can be very unpredictable.
Right. And they often come with all kinds of restrictions and requirements.
Exactly. And then even when you have the funding, there are logistical hurdles. I mean, think about the infrastructure you need, the staff, the training materials, the ongoing support. It's a lot.
Especially when you're working in areas that are maybe remote or underserved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's the challenge of measuring impact. how do you quantify success in a project like this?
Right. It's not just about numbers, is it?
No, it's not just about, how much milk they're producing or how many goats they have. It's also about, the improvements in health, in education, in social cohesion. It's harder to measure those things.
Right. It's like you're trying to measure like well-being or happiness. It's not always tangible.
Exactly, exactly. But it's still important to try to capture those broader impacts, right? And that's why, having good monitoring and evaluation systems in place is so crucial, not just to, prove to donors that the project is working, but also to learn from the process, to identify areas for improvement, to make sure that the impact is really sustainable.
So it's about constant learning, constant adapting.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, going back to the Muthegi project, I thought it was interesting, some of the details that they highlighted in the article, beyond just the overall numbers. For example, they mentioned that all the goats are now healthy.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading that. And it's a big change, right? Because before, a lot of them were suffering from various ailments.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's a real testament to their commitment to animal welfare.
Right. It's not just about quantity, it's about quality too.
Absolutely. And of course, healthier goats mean more milk, better quality milk, and ultimately, more income for the farmers.
Right. So it's a win-win for everyone.
And another thing that I thought was really interesting is that they talked about how the farmers are using their increased income to to support education, healthcare, and to reinvest back into their operations.
Wow. So it's like a ripple effect, right? It's not just
Yeah.
benefiting them directly, it's benefiting the whole community.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what we mean by sustainable development, right? It's about creating a virtuous cycle where everyone benefits.
It's a really powerful story and inspiring too. It shows that change is possible even in the face of really tough challenges.
Absolutely. And I think it's a good reminder that, we all have a role to play in creating a more just and sustainable world.
Whether it's supporting organizations like Imfuyo or just, spreading awareness about these issues, I think everyone can make a difference.
Yeah, even small actions can have a big impact.
Absolutely. Well, this has been another amazing deep dive. So much to think about.
Yeah, a lot of food for thought for sure.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. And until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
See you next time.